I welcome you to our discussion, and in our discussion, I intend to talk about what is alleged to be human rights. Personally, I have nothing wrong with what people have alleged to be human rights on earth, and you must understand that I'm well informed. I know the history of human rights. I've read and I've taught human rights, and I've personally made the research and the survey to understand what these human rights are. But then the challenge that I have is, in my conclusion with the interacting with human rights, I've come to realize that some of what is alleged to be human rights are not human rights as per se, but they are human wrongs. Why do I call them human wrongs? It's because of some of the elements at which they have given birth to. In the quest of looking at them as human rights, they have turned society upside down, and this is why I want to call them human wrongs. By the way, you must know that human rights are inherent, meaning that we are born with them, and no one should ever tell us what we know and what we should have of them, because by nature and necessity we are born with these rights, and they cannot be separated one from another. In principle, human rights are rights that which a human being owns, or which a human being has from birth or by virtue of being a human being. So my view of human rights is that many of them are human wrongs. And I do understand so well what the scope of the human rights is. I know that it's very easy to be misunderstood and how so much it is difficult to be understood. But I want you to follow me closely so that you understand why I call some of them as human wrongs. What are some of the key issues in this discussion? One of them is that of women empowerment. This principle of women empowerment, I take it, yes, well, as a good thing, but to me it has distorted society, because it's like a tool now that which has been given unto a woman to begin the battles with society against a man. Now, from the onset, you should realize that even a way back before the coming of these so-called human rights, that women still held a pivotal role in the development of society. At one point, you could understand so well that even when you go back to the Bible, there were still women that which did God's work, like Mary in the announcement of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, Deborah, one of the judges that we read about, Ruth, one of those that have propagated the gospel, and many more other that we can talk about. Queen Elizabeth has been one of the queens for so many years as a leader in society. So to talk about human rights today and quickly emphasize on issues of women empowerment, it's like, awakening a woman and giving her a tool to fight against a man in society. Now, much and many of these societies that have been formed, they talk about, women empowerment or the rights of a woman and a child. But none has been formed to talk about, the right and the protection of a man. So, by nature and necessity, we must begin to know that man is slowly being pushed away from importance in society. Number two is that a woman has been faithfully deceived by the Western society or Westernization by way of telling her and giving her education as a tool to give her a good life. Now I want to remind you that formal education does not give anyone a stable life. Formal education just simply means enlighten someone, and in all essence and principle, it is just there to provide the basics of what society must expect, and never in itself to make a means to an end or an end to the means. Never at all. But when a woman is given the income, when a woman is given the highest position, I have nothing wrong with that, like I've said. But when much emphasis has been put forth to tell a woman that when you have a job, that when you have a stable job, when you have an education, then a man makes no sense, or at that time you become a boss of your own, become a wrong itself that must be corrected in society. Because at the end of it all, we see that such bombs or arsenals that are given to a woman, they end them in tears. And this is why society today has been perverted of its norms, that a woman has become a tool in the hands of a man. It's because man feels that he has been infuriated by what has been propagated by the whole world. Now, a woman has also been benumbed in the clothes of employment. Many women think that when they are employed and when they can find an income to themselves, they can live a life and they can buy whatever they want. So at that point, life in itself is complete. But I want to remind you that according to God's creation, God did not intend for what today we have exalted and that which we have propagated as the right thing to do. God designed that woman must submit to a man and man must provide leadership in this life. But then what do we see? We see so many perversion of norms. The first weapon used against society is that of employment, that which has been given to a woman. Okay? And that also a woman now has become the spearheader or the ruler of society. So in this way, men have lost their position in society, I believe so. They have lost their space in society. Because men have lost space in their society, they are also watching, they have folded their hands to watch and see what a woman will do. The other aspect that, of course, that I see that is a distortion of society is that of discipline of the children. It has been turned to be an issue of human rights, which is wrong. When I read scripture, scripture says, spare a rod to spoil a child. And the other, in the book of Proverbs, it says actually, in every child abounds foolishness, and it's only the rod of correction that will drive it away. So we cannot run away from the fact that a child needs a whip, but that has become an issue of human rights today. Regardless of how you are disciplining a child, whether in love or out of love, it has become an issue of human rights, and someone can be arrested for that. Let's talk about the issue of dressing. Today, people no longer dress to dress; they dress to undress. People can dress however they want. They can do whatever they want and whatever they wish, and no one ever talks about that. Especially in the context of women, the dressing has become pathetic, and no one is willing to talk about it because it's an issue of human rights. And this is why I call them human wrongs. How do people dress to undress? Because the basic purpose of wearing clothes is to cover our shame. And we know what I mean by saying shame in the African context. The social media space also has been abused. What we see much of the revelations on social media is that, of nudity. And our women have been abused in the name of, fashion. They have gone, to undress themselves and they remain, in nude pictures. And it appears they're also enjoying because, when you begin to advise, they're not happy about it. What are some of the serious issues? Number one of them is the alleged privacy in the life of the couple. I've been wondering so much and I've begun to ask myself so many questions. In a couple has no privacy. Husband and wife have no privacy. The husband has the right to get into the phone of the wife, and the wife has the right to get into the phone of the husband and explore in whatever fashion they wish. They have the right to explore in whatever direction they wish. There is no privacy there, because my understanding is, if these two can share their private parts, what would be more private than the private parts? Because to me, I understand that the private parts is the highest level of privacy. But if the couple can share this, the highest form of privacy ever on earth, then what would deny them to check through the phone? It is serious deception. And this is what has caused a lot of adultery in many marriages. Because in the name of, no, don't hold your husband's phone, no, don't hold your wife's phone, many things have been harbored. Many conversations and pictures, many mischief has been put in the phones. And it has been hidden from the knowledge of the other. And marriages now have been running like that in the name of privacy. There is no privacy for a couple. There is only privacy for those that are outside the couple. But when people are a husband and wife, they have no privacy. Let me repeat this point. There is no privacy in marriage. Husband and wife have no privacy. Because those they share the highest form of privacy. But human rights will tell you, no, the husband and the wife have the right to privacy. Which privacy? Which privacy could we be talking about? There is no privacy in such. That is the highest level of deception. And so we must understand that is one of the failures in society that has robbed much of the peace that which people must enjoy. There are so many things that I feel that they are wrong in society. And I'll begin to itemize them one after the other with a space of time. Thank you so much.